Hey everybody, what's going on? I am Jamie Dawn, your revolutionary astrologer, bringing you your celestial wisdom for the week of January 15th through the 22nd of 2023. And I'm going to apologize right up front because I am recording this in Mercury retrograde still. And I have struggled in this Mercury retrograde to get my words out of my mouth. In my head, they make perfect sense and they're very organized, that I know what I'm about to say. And then I start to speak and it seems to get very jumbled. So I'm going to talk hopefully slower than I normally do, but also hopefully clear enough that this helps you a little bit, because we're going to talk about Mars is now direct in Gemini. It went direct on January 12th. We're still a little bit in that shadow period. So forward movement with decisions, conversations, communication, some short distance traveling, things like anything involved with our transportation can start to move forward now. But it may feel a little bit slower, a little bit slow on the uptake. However, I will say that a few of you have already reported that you got some communication, some answers, some job offers or interviews happening before the weekend is here. I'm recording this actually on January 13th, which is Friday the 13th. It's a little bit later than usual, but it's been that kind of week. Sorry to say. However, it's perfect because I'm going to digress for a second about Friday the 13th. But I love Friday the 13th because it is such a magical day. And 13 in numerology in tarot has to do with change. It has to do with transition. It has to do also with stability. If you add the 1 and 3 together to make a 4. So there's change coming, but we've got a firm foundation underneath us that can support us. So that's what I love about Friday the 13th. I love it so much. I even did a vision board, but that's also because I'm honoring the goddess Hecate, and it's her day. So that's another little layer there. And if you want to join me, feel free. Anyways, this is also a great time with Mars now moving forward in Gemini, where we can release information. So if you've been holding something close to your chest, you're making an announcement, this is a great time now to start making the announcements. But there's a caveat. Mercury is still retrograde in Capricorn, and it will stay retrograde until the 18th. So that's Wednesday. So if you decide you want to launch or make your announcement, launch something right now, keep in mind it may fall on deaf ears, possibly, or it may not get received fully, and you may have to take your time or have to redo it down the road or shout a little louder. Mars and Gemini likes forceful communication, so you may have to force some things, something of that nature could show up. I would encourage you, if you can, hold off just a little bit. Now, I know Mars doesn't want to wait on anything. Patience is not a virtue with Mars. But if you can hold off until Mercury gets out of its shadow in 2 weeks, that would be the perfect time. So I would say if you really want to have some good traction behind it, wait till the end of the month to release your announcement, your book, your podcast, any form of communication. Maybe it's a curriculum. I understand too, many teachers, especially elementary, high school, all that, college, you have classes that you have to teach. So, and it's already started. So it's not about that. But what I can say is patience isn't the virtue. If you can't be patient, be gentle, please. When some forms of communication seem a little muffled or still a little bit internalized, I joke, but it's true. Especially true for me when Mercury is retrograde. I have all these wonderful conversations going on in my head, and then I speak to somebody about something that I thought I had told them, and I never spoke a word to them about it. It was all happening here, but somewhere I thought I had said it. So that's my famous Mercury retrograde problem when it comes to the communication piece. And I jokingly say, sometimes people see me talking to myself, or I'll start a sentence and not finish it, and start another one and not finish that one. And they'll laugh at me. I'm like, I'm having a staff meeting in my head. Just let me talk to my staff for a second, So like I mentioned, Mercury goes stations direct January 18th, but it's going to stay in shadow for about 7 days after. So if you can hold off on certain things, do it. But for the most part, we'll start to feel a little bit of relief and a little bit more movement here in all the Capricorn ways, with Mercury being in Capricorn, and then it'll move into Aquarius later down the road. And so what we can find is that in all the Capricornian ways, we can organize our thoughts in a way that feel useful, that feel like we can finally communicate successfully with others, that we can get others motivated to do things because it makes sense. And I think also we'll have a little bit more of that energy when the sun in Capricorn will canoodle with Pluto and Mercury, and Mercury and the moon will be canoodling. So we've got all this little pile up of energy in Capricorn, even though Mercury and the moon are going to have quite a bit of distance degree wise with them. But the sun and Pluto canoodling gives us really forceful, powerful energy that can be channeled into success and achievements and the things that we really want most. So use that day to unearth any sort of fears or insecurities or self-doubts we might have, and say, you know what, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to take a risk because I want to live with no regrets. And that's a wonderful opportunity to communicate what you need, what you want. I think boundaries are also going to be a big thing during this week, communicating them. So if you're having, let's say, an interview around this time, state what you need, state what you want, interview the interviewee, or the interviewer, excuse me, interview them just as much, because this is a relationship that you're starting. You're on a date, so to speak, in a new interview, The sun will move into Aquarius January 20th. So the next day after it's canoodling with Pluto, then it shifts into Aquarius. And even though the sun's at fall in Aquarius, we're going to start to feel a little bit more attached to our ideas, a little bit more energized by the unusual, the out of box thinking. We can find ourselves drawn to, or maybe we're creating the unusual situation that people can naturally get behind. We're going to probably focus a little bit more on how can I've done all this useful stuff. I've been successful in bringing my team together. I've been successful in getting the job on task here or whatnot. Now, how do I make this more collective? How do I make this more humanitarian with this Aquarian energy? And right after the sun is in Aquarius, moves into Aquarius, the next day we have a new moon, and Venus will be canoodling Saturn at this time. So we've got the sun and the moon canoodling at the early degrees of Aquarius. Then we've got Venus and Saturn canoodling at the later degrees of Aquarius. So we've got this wonderful Aquarian energy, and the new moon is a great time to start new things. And now that we have Mars and Mercury direct, start away. And it's a good time to plant some seeds and to really think about the higher mind. Think about also how you can use your intuitive muscle a little bit more. How can I use the technology, air quote, of this intuitive mind to benefit others, to benefit my situation? Also, I would say that if you're looking for love, this is a wonderful chance for you to maybe be attracted to the most unusual places or people that draw to you someone new. And you're going to be looking for ways in which maybe you can secure greater finances or greater relational field, roots within the relationship. And it may come through some unusual ways. Also, we've got the moon then canoodling with Saturn and Venus in Aquarius the next day, because it's moving in close proximity with them after the new moon. So that could be a time where we feel like we're finally secure. We're finally able to anchor in these ideas, these higher minded ideas, and we're going to make something innovative with them. We're going to do something different than we normally do, because what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So as we lead into the end of this week, we're going to be looking at ways to get new results, doing things differently than we've done before, and we want to start to execute them. Even if you're not launching anything or executing during a new moon, because most often is not the time to actually take the action, it's the time to contemplate and think about it. This is still a great time to have some fun, get out there, go to unusual places, meet unusual people, and do some things that you wouldn't normally do, that just feed your soul, feed your mind. Aquarius is that sign that says, I just know, I know. It can be a know-it-all, but I feel like if we use that positive side of Aquarius, that we can trust our intuition, trust these, we'll say, telepathic hits that we get, and then communicate them, share them for the benefit of all. Remember, intention drives everything. So if your intention is to not harm, your intention is to help and to heal, then you're going to be just fine. Remember, you're not responsible for how somebody receives the message, only how you deliver it and what your intention is behind it. All right, you guys, I hope this helps. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Come find me at jamiedawn.com, and I look forward to connecting with you. Have such a great day.